to dive into the awesome power of AI for the home service industry. We're discussing how AI can revolutionize your business operations, enhance efficiency, and potentially save you thousands of dollars each month. It's time to see how AI can help you start crushing it in your business.
Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Justin Deese.
Welcome to Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Today, we're talking to a pretty special guest, and they're telling us a little bit about how AI is going to make our world better. And I know a lot of contractors right now are kind of in that weird space where, do I use AI? Do I not use AI? And we're going to talk today on some very specific ways that you can utilize AI to really improve your business for the better and really change the game a little bit. So hanging out with us today, we have Brad from Zyra Talk. And Brad, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. And it's funny you talk about AI, and there's contractors who are afraid of it. They don't want their team to lose their job, and we can touch on all of that within the conversation, but I'm excited to be on.
Yeah, it's weird, and it's not just a contractor thing. It just seems to be people are hesitant about AI and what it's going to look like. I actually just saw a video this morning. It was on one of the social, probably on Facebook, and it was a robot doing drywall.
Oh man,
it's pretty cool. Now, whether that was a real video or not, I don't know, but I thought
it could have been AI generated.
It could have been an AI generated video of an AI doing drywall. Because that would be pretty awesome. I've got drywall to do at my house, and I don't want to do it. So, so tell us a little bit about Zyra Talk.
Yeah. I'll give the short story of kind of where we started. We've been in the AI automation space and the home service space for about 10 years now. So we started about a decade ago with a different brand called Great Pros, and it was a lead gen company similar to what Angie and Home Advisor are doing, and Porch and some of the other lead generators. And we had a pretty big contractor network, and we were generating thousands of leads per month for our network. And at that time, we were using online forums like a lot of people still do. And we were like, man, with how much money we're spending on Google, if there's any way we can increase our online conversions by even a fraction of a percentage, we would be happy. So we were always trying new things out. And we built an automated chat for ourselves. And this is, again, about 10 years ago. And we saw a pretty noticeable increase in our conversions. With how much we were spending, it was worth giving the product away for free to some of our customers just to see what would happen. And they loved it because they were like, hey, I want to get more of these leads, or hey, it's working well on my website. And it's because people were giving more information rather than just checking a couple boxes. I need my, checking a box for HVAC, checking a box for repair. They were actually giving more information. So that was a while ago, and we actually phased out the lead gen company and rolled with the automated chat. And at that time, we were always like, man, chat is great, and it still is, but for every chat a company gets, they're getting about 100 phone calls. So we were always like, if there's any way we can automate phone calls and get into that space, we're willing to try it. So fast forward a little bit, now we're about 7 years ago, and we tried to build an automated chat or phone conversation with IBM Watson analyzing intent rather than true AI. It was very robotic. It wasn't ready to go to market with. So we focused on chat for many years, grew that to thousands of customers. Home services, again, our biggest vertical. That's about 80% of our customers. And a couple of years ago, with the improvements with the LLMs and AI, we started to get into the voice space because we were like, okay, there's something here. We can start to automate phone calls. Now that AI is so advanced, and that's what we did. In the middle to end of last year, we rolled out our first client with a beta test and started seeing phone calls being automated. And it was working, it still is, it's working extremely well. To date, we have hundreds of customers. We'll be over 1,000 by the end of the year, and we're automating tens of thousands of phone conversations per week. So it's been pretty fun. We're very busy. We had one week where we onboarded 80 customers.
Wow.
Right now, we're onboarding about 40 to 50 customers per week and growing very quickly. So it's exciting and it's a lot of fun.
So, yeah, I mean, AI, it seems like, and I know I was talking to somebody, and this has been probably 8 months ago, and we were talking about how AI has just kind of popped out of nowhere. And the person I was talking to, she said, it hasn't popped out of nowhere. Autocorrect is an AI. Like, it's been around. It's just been a slow progression to where now there's been such a leap in the last couple of years that you're starting to see just this enormous boom in the product and how you can use it. I mean, who would have thought 5 years ago you could use AI to answer your phone?
Yeah, not a lot of people. We thought it would be possible, but we were always like, that's kind of the dream. And even what you said, when ChatGPT came out, everyone's like, oh, I can automate blog posts, or I can automate how I'm responding to Google reviews. Very basic things. And now that things have advanced further, now we're getting into these use cases that are really interesting, automating phone calls. I know there's some good products for technicians being in a home, and you can not automate conversations, but you can summarize a conversation and see how you can improve a technician there. So there's a lot of improvements with AI in really deep use cases. I know ServiceTitan has Dispatch Pro, where you are dispatching technicians based on their expertise, based on where a job is located. So there's so many different AI use cases. We're just focused on answering the phone, and yeah, it's a big problem in the industry.
Yeah, I think that, well, let me ask you this. When it comes to contractors that you guys are working with, do you have anybody that's exclusively using the AI talk and not using any customer service people?
We do, actually. And it's funny you ask that, because we've got hundreds of customers, 500 plus at this point. And there's a handful who are like, hey, can we just transition to having AI be the first line of defense? And at first we were like, are you sure you want to do that? And they're like, yeah, the calls after hours and overflow, they're great. And we just have our CSRs handling those once they come through. They have a queue of them. So we had people test it at first, and then they were like, yeah, this works, and let's run with it. So people are using it as the first line of defense, but it's not like they're firing all of their CSRs. People worry about that, and it's just not happening. Now the CSRs have more time, and they have the queue of AI calls that are coming through, so they can take care of those customers, and then they can do things like outbound. We've seen people transition CSRs to do dispatching. So they're going into these higher value tasks that are revenue generating, rather than just waiting for a phone call to come through and answer it.
Well, and let's be honest, customer service reps typically answering the phone is not their favorite thing to do anyways. So yeah, now what you're able to do is you're able to take that team member and have them do things that generate actual real dollars right now. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. And I have seen data of a company who has one person, all she does is outbound all day. She creates customer lists. Let's say, hey, I'm going to pull a list in ServiceTitan of people who had their water heater replaced 8 to 12 months ago. And she's calling them saying, hey, do you need to flush your water heater? And let's go through a quick home checklist to see what else is wrong with your home. She generated, actually, guess how much revenue she has generated the company in a year?
Oh, in a year? I'm going to guess $1 million.
Spot on. Slightly over $1 million. All she does is outbound. She creates her customer lists, and it works extremely well. So if you can transition one of your best CSRs, you're using our product, and transition one person to just do outbound, you've just generated another $1 million of potential revenue. So there's a lot of use cases out there.
And for that team member who's now generated $1 million, that you can easily put that number to it, now you can pay them more. Now you can,
Oh yeah.
you set a performance pay on it. You can pay someone a whole lot more to go get $1 million than to answer a lot of phone calls.
Oh yeah. So it's a win-win.
Absolutely. And who doesn't want to pay their team members more money, right?
Yeah.
We all
You
do.
want
We
to
want
keep
to pay
people
them.
happy, and of course.
So what are some percentages of calls that are missed? Like when I think about calls being missed, I think about all the repercussions that happen. And as a business owner, automatically my brain goes to the dollars that are missed, but there's a whole lot of other things, and you can actually put a number, maybe not an exact number, but you could get pretty close to a number on what you're missing.
You can definitely get a range because everyone is slightly different. And we have a lot of marketing agency partners who they're referral partners. They recommend our product to their clients because they have the data of the percentage of missed calls that their clients are seeing. So what we are seeing is anywhere from 15 to 35% companies are missing calls. And you hear numbers like that and it's like, man, are these potential leads? Is it people who are just wanting to leave a message? We don't know what the calls were because they are missed at such a high rate. So think if you're missing 1 out of 4 calls and you're spending $100 to $200 to acquire a new customer, you're spending all this money on marketing and it's just going down the drain because you're not answering all of the phone calls. We see about 60% of phone calls are new leads, people who need to schedule a job or a service. And yeah, people are just missing too many of them.
Brad, are you good at math?
I would say I'm above average.
Okay, I want to do this, and I'm not very good at math. And usually my wife, she's the virtual CFO, so she's much better than I am. But I want to put that into kind of a dollar amount for people that are listening, because I think that just lands a little bit different if you get the dollars that are flying out your door, because that's what's happening.
Okay.
And so if you're getting 100 calls, let's say 100 calls a month. I don't know. I don't know what the average call count is, but we'll say 100. And if you're missing let's call it 15%. We'll call it 20%. So we're in the middle, right? So you're missing, I could do that math, 20 calls.
Let's say 1,000. You get 1,000 calls a month and you're missing 20%. So now you're missing 200 calls.
Okay, 200 calls. There we go. And that's probably more realistic. 200 calls. And out of that 200 calls, all you've got to do is multiply that number by your average ticket, and that tells you about what you're missing.
Yeah. So, okay, let's say those 200.
My hair just stood up on my arms.
Yeah. So 200, and now you're missing, and 60% of those we're probably going to schedule with you. So that's 120. Average tickets anywhere from, let's say, $800 to $1,500, $1,000 for easy math. So 1,000 times 120. That's $120,000 a month. And
times 12.
Times 12. It's over $1 million a year.
Yep.
And we have a case study, actually. Similar math. It's a client who we answered, I think it was 1,200 calls in the month for them with AI. And that's only after hours and only overflow. And I'll talk about how we do call forwarding. And I think they said 30 or 40% of those ended up scheduling. So it was about 400 calls, average ticket being, let's say $1,000 again. We helped them make about $400,000 in 1 month. They are a very happy customer. It's a customer that anyone who's like, hey, can I talk to someone? We're like, hey, talk to this customer because they're going to share the actual data with you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what a big hole in the boat.
Oh my gosh. It's really crazy.
So what, and you think about that, and I don't know what the cost is of your product or service yet. And I'm not going to ask you now just because somebody might listen to this 6 years from now, and obviously that price is going to change. But whatever it is, I am sure that the example we just gave, well, I'm hoping it's a fraction of that.
They are making double to triple digit X ROI on what they're spending with us.
So here's another one. Does the AI currently have the ability to outbound?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we have talked about it. There's a lot of things that need to happen for outbounding. First of all, the FCC has really cracked down on AI outbounding. So there has to be some sort of implied intent in some sort of trigger system to do outbounding. If someone fills a form on the website if someone was a customer and or if someone has a technician on the way, there's certain triggers that you would want to do outbounding for. The other thing is a phone number has to have a certain reputation so that it doesn't show up as spam likely. There's just so many different things that need to happen before we really put a focus on outbound. We're really focused on solving the inbound problem just because we're talking about the missed call percentage and it's a serious issue. That's what we're focused on. We're probably about 6 to 8 months before we start building or start considering building outbound, but it's definitely in our thoughts and on the roadmap. It's just not super high priority right now. We're more focused on prioritizing integrations and getting jobs into the CRM as clean as possible, and that's what clients really want right now versus outbound.
So what is the cost? Like when you compare it to a traditional call center, what does that cost look like? And I can tell you that we've used third-party call centers before, but what does that cost typically look like when you compare the two of them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we do a subscription plus the cost per minute. And it's not a crazy price. I won't say the exact price because, like you said, if people listen to this in the future, it could change. But it's very fair based on what the ROI people are getting. And we really don't have much pushback on price, to be honest with you. So we do a subscription plus a per minute cost. Compared to an after-hours call center, it is significantly more affordable because an after-hours call center might charge you a base fee plus a minute fee. And we've seen anywhere from $1.50 per human minute upwards of $2.25 per human minute. And that's not even phone time. That's usually working time because they've got to put the call into the CRM. They've got to do a couple different things. So $2 plus of working time, it's pretty expensive. And we've even seen and have customers tell us, and I've seen people in Facebook groups write about us as well, they're seeing a significantly higher booking rate with our product, and they're just having a much better customer service experience for their customers. So we've seen people write that in the Facebook groups and a bunch of other forums, our reviews, which is great to see. But yeah, the price is more affordable and the product is what people say is better than a human answering.
Can I share some stories that I have?
Sure.
About call centers.
Let's hear it.
So we, throughout the years we've been a call center, and we're in an industry where we all feel pretty good about, you got to answer the phone. Like somebody's got to answer the phone. And we were doing some auditing on one that we had, and I mean they were answering the phone with the wrong company name. They were not booking jobs because it was out of our space, even though it was in our town. And I had one that I listened to one time. The call went 12 minutes. Oh. And they kept asking the customer that they must have asked her phone number 10 times. And it lasted 12 minutes because the lady finally hung up.
Man.
So again, none of that is going to happen with your product, I assume, right?
I would hope not. But I've never seen a call go 12 minutes. On average, our calls are about a minute and a half, upwards of 3 minutes. And you can continue with the call center story, but I'll go on. Yeah, so the way we train the AI is it's a little different for every company. We have our best practices, but we're training a conversation goal. If someone's a lead, hey, here's how the conversation needs to go. If someone needs to cancel a job, obviously the AI is going to try to get them to reschedule. If someone reschedules, hey, here's the conversation flow for that. So we're training on all of these different scenarios. A call should not be going 12 minutes. And we have, like I said, our best practices, and it works really well.
I know when I first was checking out the website, and you guys have some samples on there, so I definitely would encourage anybody to check out their website, and I'll put it all in the show notes. You can listen to some of the calls. Before I get into that, though, I want to say this. On your website, I love the top of it, and it says, "Turn those missed calls into dollar bills, y'all." It's fantastic. Man. Like, talk about knowing your avatar. Your customer loves that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's funny. I'm one of the founders and the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, and I was talking to one of my partners, and I'm like, we just need something that's kind of goofy that people are gonna remember. And I was like, what about this? And hey, it kind of stuck, and people will be on demos with our sales team and be like, oh yeah, I saw turn those missed calls to dollar bills, y'all. They think it's kind of funny, so that's a good thing.
So one of the things that I noticed in listening to some of the examples you guys shared with me, and actually they're even on the website too, was, part of my concern as a contractor is I'm going, is a customer going to be turned off by AI answering the phone? Because we've all had the experiences when you're on chat and you got a chat bot and you're like, human.
Yes.
And you're
Talk
getting
to
frustrated.
A representative.
Right.
Yeah.
Customer, human. What I really liked about the examples that I saw with you guys, and I'm assuming everything is customizable, and we'll come back to that in a second, but I like that in all the examples, you guys say what it is. Like, you're not trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes. You're not trying to pretend that it's a person when it's not. It's just like, hey, I'm an AI. There's some things I can help you with, and if I can't, I'll pass you along. And I really, I thought that was pretty genius that you guys do that.
Yeah, so I will actually touch on that because this is an important topic, because we have clients who are like, do we have to even say it's AI? And we leave it up to the customers, but we have data on that. If the intro message is a little long, like 10 to 15 seconds long, saying, hey, our representatives aren't available, but I'm an AI assistant, the abandon rate is actually a little bit higher. And it's because people think it's a voicemail or whatever it is. So the abandon rate can be 20 to 25%. If they're saying, hey, thanks for calling XYZ Plumbing and Air, my name's Susie, how can I help you? The abandon rate's like 2 to 5%. Very early on in the conversation, we do let them know it's an AI, but once they start talking to it and they see how human-like it is, they'll keep going with the conversation. Mm-hmm. So we actually have tweaked that a little bit, and we leave it up to the customer. Some people are like, hey, AI from the beginning, we need to be transparent. But other people are like, hey, if 20% are still going to hang up, let's get that single-digit abandon rate, and then we'll tell them it's AI within 30 to 40 seconds of the call still. So it's funny you say that, and we have data, and we're always trying to optimize the conversations to make sure our customers are getting the best ROI. And it's something we have been playing around with a little bit lately.
Yeah, I thought it was great when I listened. That was my, because I saw a different one, and it was trying to, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was transparent. And I feel like our customer, for our plumbing and AC company, our customer appreciates transparency. Like, that's kind of part of a core value for us. And I thought it was great that you guys did that. And really, I think it just took the bar to a different level to where it's like, hey, if you want to talk to a person, we can hook that up. But for this conversation, let's see if I can help you. So you mentioned customizable. So what are some other things that you can, as people are listening to the examples, what are some other things that can be customized?
Anything you can imagine, honestly. So that intro message can be customizable, the conversation flow, and even the goal of the conversation can be customized. The voice can be, you could read a script for us and we could make the AI sound exactly like you. So everything can be customizable. There's some people, for example, who will ask, at some point in the conversation, usually, are you the homeowner? Because most people don't want to deal with a renter-tenant situation. But we've had some people who are like, just get through the phone call as quickly as possible, and we don't even need to ask them that. So there's scenarios like that we've seen. Not something we would suggest. Obviously, you probably want to know if they're the homeowner, but some people have said no, they don't care. But yeah, the whole conversation can be customized. The flow of it can be customized. Some people want to start by getting the person's name and then asking them the phone number. Other people are like, we just want to know what they need done, and then we'll get that information about them later on in the conversation. So conversation can be as customizable as you could think.
Okay, that's great. So what does the onboarding process look like with you guys?
Yeah. So once you go through our sales team, and by the way, we're not even that salesy. It's more so, how do we fit into your system and how would we integrate and actually be a win for you? From there, it goes to our onboarding team. So we have an initial onboarding call. it's understanding your business. Do you work on boilers? Do you work on window units? Some people yes, some people no. So going through a list of that, and then, hey, how do you want to escalate it if someone is an angry customer? How do you want to handle reschedules? So we're asking all of these questions so we can go in and train the AI. Once we do that, it takes about less than 24 hours after that call. Then we have a phone number that we do some testing with, and they can do some testing with. And then after that, we do the go live call. And that usually takes another 30, 45 minutes where we are setting up call forwarding rules within their VoIP system, whether they're using Dialpad, RingCentral, whatever it is. And most people want the call to forward before that 30-second mark because of LSA. Google dings you if you don't answer the phone within 30 seconds. So we usually set up call forwarding after 2 rings if no one answers. And then after hours, whenever the CSRs go home, let's say 7 p.m., the AI is the first line of defense after that. So we've got our process, and I think we know what works pretty well, and we also don't know what we don't know, and we're testing different things out always.
Well, and that seems like a pretty simple process.
Yeah, it's been refined and improved over the past year, and it tends to work and go pretty smooth for people.
Now, are you limited by the number of calls, or like what does it look like if, obviously from HVAC, your call volume is different during the winter or during the spring than it would be, the dead of summer. I'm in Florida, so, wherever you are and whatever your shoulder season versus your, high cotton season. But what, is it able to scale?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We have a client who's massive and they had over 1,000 calls in one day handled by AI. So yeah, it can handle as many calls as you want at a time, and we haven't seen any issues with latency during the call. And right now there's probably over a dozen calls going on right now with AI.
So really, whether you're a small company or a large company, ZyraTalk can work for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are some of the future innovations that are coming down the pipeline? I guess that's probably a loaded question because it's AI and who knows what tomorrow even brings. But what do you guys have on your roadmap?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we build our product, we really focus on customer feedback, and that's really what drives how we're building the product. Right now, what we're focused on is improving some integrations with the major FSMs out there and really standardizing a process, because everyone does things a little bit differently, as you know, being in the space for so long. So we're trying to get to a very standard process of, hey, here's how the AI calls feed into your CRM, and if this is a big enough problem for you, then you can either tweak your process a little bit, and if we need to do something a little bit custom, we're willing to do that. So there's a couple different ways we integrate with the FSMs, and we're willing to work with the client on how they want to do it. But with how many onboardings we're doing, we're also trying to standardize that process.
I imagine if you're that's a lot of people to onboard, and that's fantastic, and it's just proof that this is a needed and wanted item in our space. Yeah,
it's a big pain point. And back to things we're working on, we're hiring for onboarding. We're big on customer support and customer success. We've gone through some growing pains through the past few months with these onboardings, but we're hiring aggressively, mostly on the customer success, customer support side, because with our initial clients, they're raving about us. We want to make sure everyone who's getting onboarded now can still go through that great process.
Fantastic. Well, as we kind of roll to the end, is there any other thing you want to share with the audience?
If they're interested in a demo, they can go to our website, ZyraTalk.com, and they can just request a demo. We get to them pretty quickly. As far as anything else, I think just give it a try, and it works really well. It even works so well that we have some of the answering services, some of the biggest players in the space, who are using our product as a backup to them, because it's really hard to scale up people. These answering services have thousands of customers, and you can only hire so many for the busy seasons. They're still going to miss calls, so they're using our product as a backup to them because it's a serious problem. They're missing calls, and we just want to make sure calls are answered. So, that's the last thing I wanted to touch on. Unless you have any other questions or any points you want to talk about.
No, I think it's fantastic. I'm glad we got a chance to connect. I've gotten to see the product. I think it's super amazing. And definitely go to zyratalk.com. Check it out. Just go listen to the calls. Once you listen to the calls, you're like, this is pretty awesome. Book a demo and hang out with Brad and his team and let them walk you through the process and what that looks like. So, Brad, man, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us.
Yeah, appreciate it as well, Justin. And thanks for watching, everyone. This is fun.
Well, that was really a great conversation with Brad. And it's always cool to learn about new things and new technology in our space. And here's the deal. AI is coming. Prepared or not, it's coming. It's going to be here. Well, it's already here. And it's really just there's two types of contractors. There's contractors that are starting to use it and that are embracing it and letting it leverage and help their lives. And there's the ones that aren't. So it really depends on where you are in your journey. But my suggestion is go ahead and start doing some research. And you've done some research just by listening to today's episode. So a couple things I wanted to highlight before we call it good for the day. Let's see. One of the bullet points I've gotten here is AI can help improve your business by automating tasks and increasing efficiency, which it 100% absolutely can. We just talked about it, but many contractors are still hesitant about using AI. There is huge benefits to using it. I know one of the things we talked about, especially with Zyra Talk, is about answering the phone. And I think everybody's first reaction to that is, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to let a lot of people go. And that's not the case at all. It's one of those deals where it will allow you to take your team member and have them doing higher value revenue generating tasks on a regular basis, which I know that a lot of people in our space, when it comes to like the CSRs, I think they would love it and embrace it as well, as long as they understand really how it works. Another thing is there's a lot of customizable AI solutions that can be tailored really to what you're trying to do in your business. We had Tersh on a couple of weeks ago, and he talks a lot about how AI and Zapier and all these other really cool gadgets that I understand about 5% of that can really, really revolutionize the business. Listen, if you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe, and leave a review, and share with a fellow leader who could benefit from mastering AI in their business. Until then, keep setting those AI goals and watching your business and leadership transform. This is Justin Deese signing off from Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Stay motivated, stay innovative, and as always, keep crushing it.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.